that's how they determine your duty rate, okay? And I want to talk a little bit about tariff and duty. Tariff is not, they are two separate terms. And now that I've introduced all this to you, I'm going to be able to break it out. Your harmonized code will give you your tariff rate, okay? Your commercial invoice will give you your value to the shipment times the tariff rate will give you your duty or taxes. Everybody understand that? I got some blank stares.
If you have the value of the commercial invoice, you could have multiple HCC codes on a commercial invoice, so you may have different rates.
You'll have different rates for different line items.
So if I totaled up to 160,000, what would be my?
Well, I didn't get that complicated in my example. Okay? So whether this is the total order or if this is a line item, but this is the way you would do it. You agree, Chris? You okay with that? Okay. No, I'm not an expert in this, believe me. No, that's okay. Yeah. Believe me, I take all kinds of feedback, and it's better when people give me things because I miss stuff. Yeah, it could go either way. Okay? Questions? What I want you to get out of this is your commercial. There's three things I want you to get. Your commercial invoice, your harmonized code gives you your tariff. Your commercial invoice gives you your value. Your value times your tariff gives you your duty and taxes that you're going to pay the government. Liabilities for duties. Here it was. I talked about this earlier. Payment of duties to a customs broker does not relieve the importer of liability if the duties are not paid by the customs broker. Okay? Okay. I want to do a little history lesson here. Duties and taxes, go all the way back to, the first president of the United States. And duties and taxes, cleared the statutory authority to collect duties and taxes on imported goods into the United States. That goes back to 1789. The reason that duties and taxes were put out there was a form of income. Okay? That was the original reason for putting duties and tariffs on goods. 1789, July 31st of 1789, U.S. Customs Service was founded. So they needed a department within the country that was going to collect these duties and taxes. So it goes all the way back to there. Next important date, and I've already talked about this, was the Tariff Act of 1930, which raised U.S. duties on more than 2,000 items imported into the United States with the intent on assisting domestic commerce. Okay? So we've gone from 1789 to 1930 before anybody came up with, we need to use tariffs as a way of controlling commerce. And like I said, it didn't work real well. And it put this country into a tailspin in the Great Depression. But this was the very first time when the U.S. started thinking about domestic commerce. And what came out of that? quotas, limitations, all right? There's certain products that anti-dumping, right? There's certain products that come into this country that are restricted because they don't want you to purchase foreign goods. For example, steel has a quota. And I don't know exactly what it is, but I can give you an example of how it works. The US government has a tariff of, let's just say an example of 10% on maybe 100, say 10 million pounds. So for 10 million pounds of steel that's imported into the United States, you're going to pay a 10% duty rate. For everything over 10 million pounds, you're going to pay a 50% tariff rate. Well, what's the government really doing? They're trying to keep out foreign steel after a certain point. All right? Shoes. I know there's certain type of shoes that have anti-dumping. They have a 75% duty rate on. The reason for that is because they don't want foreign product to just be dumped into the United States. Okay? So know what your product is and know what the restrictions are. And that all came out of the Tariff Act of 1930. Okay? So all of a sudden the government went from revenue generating to revenue generating and controlling domestic commerce. And then March 1st of 2003 is when U.S. Customs Service combined to form the Bureau of Customs and Border Protection within the Department of Homeland Security. So now we've gone from revenue generating to revenue generating and assisting domestic commerce to protecting our borders. And that's where we are today. And that's why the laws and the restrictions after 2003 have really increased. For those that are in business, I'm sure after 9/11 you've seen a big change. And if you haven't seen it in business, just think about how easy it used to be to go to Canada. And now the hoops that you have to jump through to, just cross the bridge. Okay? Any questions on that? It all plays together. It all comes in together. One thing I will say about commercial invoice and duties and taxes, it's not something that you want to cut corners on.